Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Please subscribe my channel. The first sliver of dawn was a pale cut across the city's skyline, but inside the studio, time was a perpetual, artificial noon. The air hummed with the low thrum of generators and the whispered tension of a broadcast about to break. On the sleek, minimalist set, two figures were islands of calm in the pre-show storm. Ilara Vance, a journalist with a reputation carved from decades of holding power to account, sipped her water, her notes a cryptic scrawl of empathy and pointed questions. Across the polished table, Julian Croft adjusted his cufflinks. He was a man sculpted from conviction, his smile a practiced tool. 60 seconds. The countdown was a metronome in their ears. In the control gallery, a producer named Liam watched the monitors, a silent arbiter of the spectacle to come. The theme music faded, and Ilara's face softened into the camera's embrace. "A difficult conversation awaits us this morning," she began, her voice a measured calm. "It's a discussion about movement, about fear, and about the very idea of sanctuary." Julian nodded, his expression shifting to one of grave concern. "It is, Ilara, and while the heart has its place, we must be led by the head. This is about sustainability, about the integrity of our communities." A pre-recorded segment began, featuring a woman named Anya. Her voice was a fragile thread, weaving a tapestry of loss and hope. She spoke of a night sea, of holding her daughter's small, trusting hand, of the scent of jasmine from a home that existed now only in memory. Ilara's gaze was unwavering, a quiet acknowledgement of the pain laid bare. "Thank you, Anya. Your courage in sharing that is immense." Julian leaned forward, his hands clasped. "A powerful, human story. Truly. But we must address the systemic reality. We're talking about infrastructure, about numbers that threaten to overwhelm the very systems designed to help. Compassion cannot be a substitute for capacity." The debate became a tennis match of abstractions. Systems versus stories. Capacity versus compassion. The specific human truth of Anya's journey was slowly buried under an avalanche of rhetoric. Then, the final guest was introduced. Father Jean, a local priest whose parish hall had become a temporary shelter. His face was a roadmap of a life spent in service. "I see them arrive," he said, his voice calm but firm, cutting through the polished discourse. "They are not a number. They are individuals, cold, tired, and deeply afraid. A young man from Syria showed me pictures on his phone, buildings he designed. A library with a dome of stained glass. Now he sleeps on a cot and is grateful for the safety. Where is the threat in that?" Julian offered a thin, patient smile. "Father, your work is commendable. But charity, while virtuous, is not a national policy. We cannot run a country on the basis of a single parish hall's good intentions." The priest looked directly into the camera, his gaze seeming to pierce through the lens and the studio lights. "And we cannot call ourselves a society if we build our policies on a foundation of fear. You speak of being pragmatic. I have found it requires far more courage to be kind." A profound silence fell upon the set. Julian's smile tightened, but the well-rehearsed retort died on his lips. The soundbite, pure and unadorned, hung in the air, challenging the very architecture of the debate. In the gallery, Liam finally looked away from the monitor. He looked at the bank of screens showing the social media feed, a chaotic, digital river of outrage and support. But scrolling past the anger, he saw other messages. "Thank you, Father Jean. Anya's story broke my heart. This is what we need to hear." The segment ended. The theme music swelled, feeling jarringly out of place. Down on the floor, Ilara was quietly thanking Father Jean. Julian was already being unclipped from his microphone, his expression one of mild, professional irritation. Liam stood up, the script for the next segment forgotten in his hand. He thought of the architect from Syria, dreaming of stained glass while sleeping on a cot. He thought of the simple, devastating power of the priest's words. The show would go on. There would be more debates, more headlines, more carefully managed outrage. But for a single, fleeting moment, a quiet, inconvenient truth had been spoken. It wasn't about winning an argument. It was about remembering the human being, not the statistic. It was about the profound and radical courage it takes to choose kindness over cold pragmatism. And in that silence, Liam felt a fragile, stubborn seed of hope take root.